Hello, everybody. We are back for our next episode, episode 23 of Almost a Party, and we've got a full party again. Yay for full parties! Last week, our party booked a boat across the Black Pond towards the Hamlet with two M's and two T's. Upon crossing the lake, they ran into an unnatural formation in the land. A butte had risen up out of the ground, and there was a camp set atop it. On approach, they were attacked by some bullets, and after fighting off this with the other group, they got to talking and found out that this was two other individual groups sent by the council to go and investigate what is going on in Typhon's Folly. In the morning, after the Druid had put the land back to what it is supposed to be in this area and took off, the players talked with the other group of four and suggested they go visit Hammlett to the south, that's with one M and two T's, while they visit Hammlett to the north, which is the two M's and two T's. And so we pick up with our party in the morning as this is going on. The other group has taken off to head back towards the road, to head south towards Hamlet. And you can continue on westward towards Hamlet. Very confusing with these two city names. So,
Let's just call them 2M and 1M.
2M and 1M. All right.
We are headed to Double M.
Yes, you are headed to double M, double T. 2M,
M&Ms.
2T. So the morning is yours to do with what you will. The other two groups have taken off, and it is just the six of you remaining.
I feel like at this point we should continue our semi-direct route. There's no reason not to just head on.
All right. Okay. So you all continue on heading through the wilderness towards the 2M2T city.
We're following the road, right?
No. You decided you didn't want to follow the road.
Yeah, we're
and
walking
cut
straight.
directly west across instead of following it
It's
up.
faster.
Yeah, because you could have followed the road further north until it turned west, which would have put you north of Hamlet. And then there's a T where the road splits and heads up to Ilixstem, or continues south to Hamlet. And that south to Hamlet isn't very far if you continue on up the road, but you guys are just beelining it across the open wilderness.
I will point out, both of our other rival groups did the same thing. So we're in good company.
Just keep your eyes about you. This is bullet country.
Yeah.
I've been hearing some word there's some bullets around here.
All right.
Let's move on.
So you continue on talking about the bullets as you go, making your way through the city. The morning comes and goes without any other incidents going on. Every now and then, you pause, thinking that you saw some movement of the ground, but it ends up being nothing. As the sun begins to set, as you are traveling, you can see the city off in the distance. You could push on through the night to make it there, or take a rest and arrive in the morning.
So, cutting through the night, what time about how far away is it for when we would arrive?
From here, it's about maybe another 2 hours.
Oh, from sunset for 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd suggest keep going.
Going up at weird times of night, entirely not on the primary travel, seems to be our trend, so no reason to stop doing it now.
Well, are there gates or anything that we would need to pass through?
You don't know. You've never been to the city before.
Is there a mountain nearby we can jump off?
No.
There is not any mountains nearby. This is very flat lands.
A shame.
So, although to the south you can see the Hand of the God Mountains, they are that tall. With how far away you are, the fact that you can see them is impressive.
Mechanically, if we push on, is it like, are we straining ourselves at all, or is it just we're pushing on a little bit? Because each long rest you can have 2 hours of non-rest, right?
Right. So it's whether you want to arrive at night or in the morning is basically your choice here.
Let's do in the morning.
Yeah, but
I
then
would
we
say
have to
let's arrive
camp
at
in the
night.
woods.
Yeah, so we can sleep in an inn.
I mean, I don't care because I get to sleep in a nice place anyway. But
I mean, the last city you arrived at night didn't go well for you.
well, yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
But when have we ever stopped ourselves?
When you arrived in that city at night and it totally freaked you out.
Zerdig does not like sleeping under the stars. It is still foreign to him and extremely scary. He would much rather sleep with a roof over his head, as it's meant to be.
It's
Well,
also
and yet-
not.
so
It's not foggy,
Zerdig,
right?
just think of it. At night, the stars, just think of it as the bioluminescent fungi, just on a significantly higher ceiling.
That goes forever.
Yeah, but if you look at it, since it's dark, it's just kind of like blur your eyes a little bit, and it might not be as intimidating. It's just bioluminescent mushrooms and stuff up there. That's okay.
Yes, and look at the clouds. Sometimes they bring it closer for you.
There's
Dude,
no fog, right?
it goes on forever.
There's not
He's-
any fog.
He
Good.
sounds a little like Elandale today.
I mean, I'm fine with continuing on, but it doesn't affect Mizuki either way, really.
Okay, so it
I'm
sounds like
ambivalent.
the majority of you are all for just pressing on and going in tonight instead of waiting
Okay.
for the morning. So you'll
Or Oray's going to lean to Zerdig really quick and say, they're not actually bioluminescent fungi. They're large explosions in space at astronomically spaced out distances.
Wait, are they?
No, they're
'Cause, like,
fireflies
in-
stuck up in
in
that
f-
big bluish black thing.
Because, like, in Faerun, they're not. They're, like, literally a part of a celestial Fey realm.
See, and I thought it was just openings in the heavens where our forebears looked down upon us.
They're just really big lanterns, but very far away.
DM, what are the stars in this world? Are they like legitimate stars, or are they something crazy like in Faerun?
Well, in Faerun, they're sort of stars still, but they're in another plane, and
Right.
you can see into the plane. Is basically what the night sky is.
yeah. There is space. They are stars. They are far off, distant, similar to ours. So
Zirdig, do not believe what the rest of them are telling you. They legitimately are large explosions, self-sustained, astronomically far away from us.
Dude, and that's supposed to make me feel better?
Well, yes.
Yeah, I don't think you understand the difficulty here. It's not about knowing what the problem is. It's that there is a sky.
But there's comfort in the truth.
No, not always.
Zirdig, there's nothing to be afraid of. The stars are quite fascinating.
besides fog and
Oh,
bullets
all right.
and
Yeah, there's plenty of things.
all the other terrible
All right,
things
man.
that Zerdik has experienced since coming to the surface.
If
Yeah,
you
he's
need
been in the
help,
service for like 3 weeks and he's almost died like every other day. It's been
just
great.
just keep your eyes down and don't look up, and that might help. If you keep your viewpoint below the horizon, that can be helpful. It's not looking up at the sky. I bet you could make a hat that sticks out like forward over your eyes that would like block the view of the sky. That might be able to be a thing, help provide a little bit of extra comfort.
Simply walk behind me. You'll never see the sky, really. You're tiny in comparison.
Ito, you missed it last week. I don't know if you heard on the replay, but the ferryman was freaking out because we're all giants.
We are mostly quite large.
Okay, man. Yeah, I'll try it.
Perfect. And we can definitely find you a hat.
So we're gonna power on and not think about the existential dread of large explosions very far away.
It sounds like that's too late. That's a ship that's already sailed into the great beyond. So you continue on, making your way to the city. As it gets darker, you approach the city. You can see that this is a fairly small, what you would call city. If you would even give it that name when you get there. There's no walls or anything surrounding it. There are roads and things going through it, but the way that you are coming in, you just are basically walking through somebody's backyard to get into the town.
I mean, I feel like we'd probably try and avoid walking right next to someone's house. Just out of common decency.
Is it like farmland, pasture lands right here?
So there are a few farms here. Most of the farms are set closer to the river, which is on the west side and south sides. Since you guys are coming from the east, you are not into the farmland.
Got ya.
Do we like walk up like the heroes in an action movie? Just like all of us in a line, slow mo.
Ramping through someone's farmland.
I
Yeah.
could make an explosion behind us.
Okay. So you're going to go around the houses and avoid walking through what would be people's
Yeah.
yards.
We don't want to. We don't want to have like a stand your ground incident where someone attempts to attack us because we're like robbing them or
Trespassing.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
never happened to us before.
Which way do you want to circle around? Towards the north or towards the south?
Whichever side the road enters into town is, I think that's the way we should circle around.
I don't think the road enters into town.
Looking from your map, the road enters from the north. Had you gotten onto the
Okay,
road,
cool.
it would have come
Then
in
yeah,
from
we'll
the
head
north.
towards the road
Okay.
because we were already kind of on that side anyway. So
Right. So you continue on heading north, eventually reaching what is the edge of the city buildings, and you can look off towards the west and see where the road is that leads into the city. Making your way over there, you enter into the city. There is a lone human guard leaning up against just a small little wall. There, it's kind of crumbling. And as you come in, he goes, "What business do you have in Hamlet this late hour?"
we are on council business, investigating disappearances.
"Council business, huh?
Also,
Well,
it's a really long way, so our choices were sleep out in the woods or walk a little further.
okay. So, council business. Mind telling me what that business is?" He said, "Disappearances."
Disappearances. Yes, there have been reports that people are disappearing in and around the region.
Hmm. Interesting. I don't know of any disappearances in our city, but I do know some people that would be happy to talk to you, being that you're from the council. However, you will need to wait until morning.
Oh man, that's like perfect.
All right.
So,
Do you have a place we can stay, or are we just gonna awkwardly sit in the middle of town?
you can do that if you wish. Uh, However, I would suggest that you go and you stay at the inn. But if you wish to just sleep in the streets, have at it.
To the inn. This place is lawless. They let people just sleep in the streets.
All right. So you make your way into the city, and you find the inn. It's called the Puzzling Stick Inn. As you go inside, there's just a single human in her late 30s with long dark hair sitting behind a counter. As you enter in, she stands up, looks at you, and goes, "Oh, we we don't get that many visitors in Hamlet. How many rooms do you need?"
How many rooms do we need now? Are we on 2 or 3 rooms?
Ore's always fine sharing since he doesn't actually take up a bed.
Well, yeah, and the last time we stayed in a place that wasn't in the major city, we were attacked. So,
I think we usually do 2 now. The past 2
yeah.
times we've had like both of the elves together, and then like Ore with Mizeki. Sounds like we need 3 though. Because where did Sadzi and Ito stay? Yeah, we had 3, I think.
Well, because,
Okay, I think Sadzi was with Ore and Mizeki, but I can't remember.
yeah, because Mizeki
Oh
doesn't take up
yeah.
any room.
You guys didn't need rooms for half of that trip because you were off with Duke and what's his bucket, Orion.
Yeah. So, I think we get away with 2 rooms. Because Ito sleeps, and then the elves do their, like, chill, sit in a comfy chair thing. And Ore doesn't really take up space.
No, Ore could just stand there. I could just stand against the wall.
Ore creepily stands against the wall and watches us sleep.
From the corner, the creepiest spot
Yeah.
of the room.
Well, I assume he stands in the door so that someone can't sneak in.
Yeah, ever since the incident, Ore
Yeah.
just sent sentinel sentries right in front.
Right, yeah, right in front of the door.
All right, so yeah, 2 rooms, please.
All right. 2 rooms. That will be 6 silver for the night.
Everyone will look at Elandil.
I'll reach into my pouch and pull out 6 silver and
Elandil is
plop
our
it in his
super
hand.
elf.
She nods and says, "Thank you." And she pulls out 2 keys from inside her coat that she's got and hands them over to you. And they are rooms 1 and 2.
Nice.
Perfect.
All
Oh,
right.
I want to stay in room 2.
So yeah, who is our split?
It sounds like Sadze, Ore, and Mizeki are in room 2.
And the elves with Ito?
And then, yeah, Ito and the elf gang are in room 1.
Okay.
I loved their last
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Ito and the elf gang.
Yeah.
Ito and the Elves, yeah.
Good group. And I assume you have your Robo Elf man stand in the door as well, Zerdig?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so
Much smaller.
whenever like knocks on our door to check on like, hey, do you guys need anything? There's just someone standing in both of our doors.
I
You open the
move
door
that
and there's
we
just someone there.
I move that we change the name of our party to Robots Death Squad.
You still
Yeah,
haven't named your
awkwardly
party,
standing
so you
indoors.
could just suggest that.
Awkwardly standing indoors.
All right. Is there anything that you would like to do this evening?
Do they have food?
Do you ask that, or are you just asking me
Yeah.
that?
And ask her, do you guys have any sort of food we can get? Just a simple snack since it's kind of late.
Uh, I could make something. We don't have anything prepared. We normally prepare something in the morning, um, something small for guests. Like I said, we don't get many people out here. Um, you're the only guest here tonight, so I can make something for you. Sure.
Awesome. That would be great. It's been a very long walk.
Ori hands Mazeki a ration. Gives you a nod.
Watch your rations.
Yo,
I've
dude.
probably had them for like 5, 6 months in my
Yeah, like
bag.
this is like Ori's rations are like rocks.
I, Zirdig, totally service elf, would love to have some of my ethnic food. Could you make some for me, brah?
Who is Bra?
You, man.
No, I'm Stephanie.
Zerdig is having difficulty adjusting to life above the surface.
Ito puts a hand across Zerdik's back, and he's just like, I genuinely don't know what he wanted to say, but something unique to this area.
Unique to this area. Um,
We got beets.
I'll see what I can do. I don't have much here, like I said. We normally have just kind of a small breakfast. We don't usually have people ask for food at night when they're coming in. They usually go to the tavern for that. Um, but yeah, I can put together something small.
Just something to take the edge off until morning would be fine.
Okay. Um, that'll be another 3 silver each for the extra work I'm gonna have to put in. So who's all eating?
Mizeki is eating.
Ito is eating.
I'm fine,
Sadzir,
thank
Also
you.
eating.
yeah,
Zerdig,
Sadzir, are
yes.
you eating?
Is there meat?
I'll join in, I guess, if everybody
Probably
else
not.
is.
Uh, no. I maybe can get some in the
It's
morning.
yeah, it's like midnight. Everything is closed. This lady's gonna go get like some bread.
This is like bread and crackers sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay. So those of you that are eating, um, she will bring up some food in a little bit. Um, so that's going to be an extra 3 silver for you.
Okay.
And about an hour after you guys retire to your room, there is a knock on the door, and there is a small cauldron filled with some kind of stew and very crusty bits of bread all around it on a plate
Yay,
outside
bread
each
and
of your
stew.
doors.
Perfect.
As you dig in, the stew is purely vegetable. No meat in here whatsoever. Lots of potatoes, carrots, onions. Very hearty there, but those of you that were looking for meat are out of luck.
Elandio, bro, this is delish.
Right?
He's trying to gauge Elandio's reaction to his quite overt uh, usurpation of his accent.
It's good. I enjoy the fresh vegetables are always quite hearty in a good stew.
Stew. I love stew. Stew is good.
All right. Anything else you are looking to do this evening? Conversations you wish to have with each other?
Do we want to? I guess we can have a quick like team meeting while we eat. What's our plan in the morning? Do we want to all go to the same place? Do we want to split up a bit? Because the main trouble here, right, is that there's a huge area to cover potentially.
We should ask the local guard or government if there's any information on recent abductions or missing persons.
We might also ask Stephanie, the inn girl, if she's heard of anything, because they might have targeted people who don't live here, so that people wouldn't notice as quickly. And she probably hears all the local scuttlebutt.
Are you wanting to do that this evening, or is that your plan for the morning?
That's the plan
For
the
tomorrow,
morning.
sorry.
We just bang their door down at midnight.
Go
Yo,
into a room. Hey, tell us.
Jeez, the
give
Bread
me the
was
command
alright. The steak
info
was good.
now.
She's on shift. She's here in case people arrive. So,
That must be so boring.
have you ever done it? It's
Yeah, in
terrible.
real life.
Yeah.
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 Also boring. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well-
I could read good books.
Yeah, I did that in college, and it was actually pretty nice. But we had fast internet, so
That's not the same thing.
That helps.
That's like
for
rich
sure.
people thinking that they're sad.
I mean, rich people could be sad too. But yeah, I did. I was in the dorms. So they
No,
had to have
that's
someone in
not
case
possible.
blackouts.
They told me money buys happiness, so rich people cannot be dissatisfied.
I would like to one day experience the dissatisfaction of finding out money doesn't buy happiness.
Let's put it this way: I think rich people's sadness is probably less exacerbated by money.
So basically, no, we don't have anything to do tonight. Our plan is to figure out who we can talk to tomorrow
Okay.
and potentially split up after that to cover more ground if we need to.
All right. In that case, you may all go ahead and take a long rest.
After Sadzi and Mizeki fall asleep, Ore is going to pull out the mask that Zirdik made him and kind of look at it a little bit and put it on.
That's not creepy as hell.
No, not at all. You guys are sitting there sleeping, and Ore puts
Once
on his
everyone-
mask.
God, I hope we don't
falls
wake
asleep,
up.
so mad.
Yeah,
Wait, what are
Miyazaki's
you
gonna wake
doing?
up and think that a serial killer is here for him.
Just
Well,
this giant
to be
metallic
fair-
grin.
Yeah, he
Good
doesn't
morning.
leave his ring for 6 hours. So
Oh, are you up to 6 hours in the ring?
yeah, we're
Nice.
at +3 proficiency bonus. So
Cool.
All right.
he can actually get his entire sleeping part of his rest inside the ring right now.
That's assuming he can fall asleep as soon as he gets into the ring. And we all know it takes a minimum of an hour to fall asleep. That's just how the world
No,
works.
come
right?
on. In D&D,
I
can't
mean-
we just decide to sleep right now?
Press
I
a
mean, it
button.
is
mean-
fantasy.
As someone who's spent a lot of time on boats, he can fall asleep anywhere instantly.
Just jumps into the ring, and warm milk is already cooking.
Okay. So you guys get your rest. Mazeki and Sadzi, you wake up with Ore's strange looking grin on his face.
Good morning.
What the
Did you sleep
actual
well?
Ore? What the hell happened to your face?
He's
This
put on
is
a
the
special
mask
mask.
that Zirdig made me.
Meditate.
And
You
You
positioned
did
across.
not have that on when we went to sleep.
I've been hesitant to wear it, and like directly across from Ore in the room, the shield is set up. So it looks like he's been making faces at himself all night long just to see what the expressions look like.
So
I'm
how good is his expression right now? How extreme are we talking? Is this like a rictus grin or like
well, it went from a kind of a morning like really cheesy grin to almost not necessarily sad, but puzzled, a little bit like one eyebrow cocked, a little bit of like not quite the reaction he was expecting first thing in the morning.
A little bit of Pennywise in there every now and then.
They all float down here.
if we've
Jesus.
got time, I will help Ore work on using my deception skill work on making a better like expressions.
And this is how you smile.
Yeah, and it's important not to smile as though you want to crush things with your face.
Okay,
It's
so let me ask this: the shield of expression, the mask of expression, does it is it controlled by what I want the expression to be or how I'm feeling?
It is a bonus action to set it as, or is it an action? I forget. Let me look.
It is
But
a
it's just,
bonus action
It's a
to
bonus.
alter the expression.
yeah, to alter the
It doesn't
expression.
specify how you alter it, though. It's probably up to Ore's
Yeah.
understanding.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
So you probably are matching the face on the shield very well. It's just a terrifying face.
Which has to
Yeah,
do with everything of how Zerdig made it.
because the eyes are cut out. It's still Ore's eyes sticking past the mask, but it's all human-esque features in the
Oh god.
expressions.
Yeah, we'll work on this over breakfast. Mizeki will help them out with that, making that a
It's-
Thank you.
little more natural seeming.
it's not really that it's a scary face. It's just very disconcerting to wake up with somebody who has a completely different face than what you went to bed.
Yeah, that would be pretty creepy.
I mean, that's not that weird. You wake up next to a different face, sometimes that just happens.
Happens all the time.
Not on the same person though. They were one person, and then you wake up and it's the same person except their face is different. Creepy.
It's probably a good thing that you guys sent the other party a different direction then.
I mean, yeah, you do know that there are changelings, right? We did just spend some time with one.
You did
So
spend the night
sometimes
with
you
one.
wake up and it's the same person and the face is different.
Not just the face, but everything.
It'd be funnier if it was just the face.
All right. So the morning is yours. When you wake up, there are downstairs small little breakfast breads, as well as a few various cooked meats and things ready to make sandwiches, as well as cooked eggs down there.
Nice.
So basically, make your own kind of breakfast sandwich type deal.
So I feel like is who's on staff right now? Who's like hanging around?
So in the morning, as you come down, there is a man who is older. Older, you guess he about in his 60s, maybe even older than that. Who's tending to the counter, and as you come down, he goes, "Breakfast over there. Feel free to grab it. It's good to have people staying in the inn again."
Thank you.
Hey,
We'd like to
yo.
ask you some questions while we eat, if that's possible.
Yeah, were there
Mizeki goes to
issues with the
food.
rooms?
Nope.
Oh, good. Sure. Feel free to ask.
Mizeki's gonna eat now and not ask questions because there's food to be had. So
Ore just walks by and smiles really awkwardly. Thank you.
he's opening the floor for other people to ask questions.
The man just kind of gives you a bewildered look as you do that.
I start grabbing as much meat as I can put onto one plate and that might possibly be held between two pieces of bread and say, "Hey, have you heard of anything strange happening around here? Like people going missing or anything?"
Not for like 40 years.
Dude, let me ask you another question, all right? You said like it's good for people in the inn again. Have you had people in the inn lately?
Yeah, you six.
Before us.
Maybe like 5 months ago. Just a
Isn't that a
couple
little
people
weird?
passing through. I mean, we're kind of off the beaten road. No one comes this way.
I bet it's not the locals.
What's not the locals?
He said that to the party, not to the innkeeper.
People are disappearing, and we're sent to investigate that. And these are good sandwiches, by the way. And so we're trying to get a sense of that. The guard last night mentioned that there were some people who might want to talk to us about that. Anything you know?
Oh, you're from the council? Yeah. There'll be
Yes.
people wanting to talk to you.
They're going to be really sad if they're expecting us to be able to like affect change and things.
Well,
You know who can affect change? Have you ever heard of Arenwell?
Aaron who?
Arenwell.
I imagine he has like a little pamphlet he pulls out.
Little illustrated
Self-drawn,
tracks.
little
Yeah, it's
self-illustrated
beautiful.
pamphlets he's got ready to
Yeah.
go.
Behold, the great goddess of life and death. Have you ever wondered what happens after you die?
I get buried with my wife in the cemetery. I know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what happens after your eternal being? Have you ever wondered?
There's no such thing as eternal beings. Everybody dies eventually.
Oh, no, yeah, we do. Like your physical body does. But then we enter Arenwell's embrace.
And the Star Mother escorts your soul into the sky amongst the heavens. And then Ore just gives a look at Alondiel. The face has got a smirk on it.
So when we
Beings.
die, we go to space and are hugged by a mysterious lady.
Not mysterious.
Elf woman.
Yes.
Arenwell, like she favors. She can service all.
Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds?
Do you understand how ridiculous it sounds? Not to understand that.
It seems pretty reasonable, actually. We just, we die, they bury us. That's it.
Is there any like candles or anything? I want to use some.
There are shutters and things to be.
You're gonna thaumaturgy.
I'm
this
gonna
poor man.
thaumaturgy. Yeah. I'm gonna make the windows and shutters all fly open. Like Arenwell bestows her gifts of blessing and life upon all, caters to those in death who are righteous,
I'm gonna make
and
confetti
punishes
pop out of the back of
those.
Elendil's head.
Did you make the shutters fly open?
If they're open, then if they were open, then I'd close them. If they're closed, I'd make them fly open.
I use thaumaturgy in reverse, whatever you did.
That makes it even cooler.
and confetti.
Meanwhile, I've managed to make a sandwich that's like taller than my hand, and I'm cramming it into my mouth while I'm watching you guys and just rolling my eyes over here. Have fun.
He just kind of looks
Ito,
at you guys and goes, "Can you cut that out? I don't want them damaged. I understand magic. We have mages."
Well, this is not.
Ito, meanwhile, is building a sandwich with the sole intent of beating Sodzies.
It's going to be hard to do since she took about 60% of the meat to make hers.
You're gonna have to steal from Sadie to make a bigger sandwich.
No, it's all carrots.
No, he's just shoving his travel rations in there.
But otherwise, what
All right, I
literally
need
doesn't
more
care.
rations.
what is the business that people are looking for council assistance with?
I don't know if you've noticed. No one ever comes here. We're kind of ignored, left on our own. But we're under the nation of Drusus, and they look out for us. And he kind of rolls his eyes.
Are you disenfranchised?
There are many folk here that think we should be our own nation, the nation of Typhons. There's good geographical sections to separate us, make the nation lines super easy to draw. And then, maybe we can
Like,
actually have
written
things actually
petitions?
happening.
Okay. That's all he says.
The urge to make like a forged submission of secession very high. All right, well, we can't help with any of that, unfortunately. We are just fixers, so you'd have to talk to your council representatives and start voting. What's
Yeah,
voter
man.
turnout like?
Can also return a writ petition to the council for you when we head back.
I mean, we could take a few notes, but
Like
we don't
6
have like
names.
an official channel to them
In fact,
specifically.
any writ sent through us may be discounted.
Friend, I have an easy solution. Why don't you just ask your king? And then he like looks around and realizes, wait a second, and then he's like, ha 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 ha.
Everyone is Mizeki's going to laugh awkwardly as well. That aggressive, loud, awkward laugh of like, let's stop talking about this now.
You make a good point. Probably be better if we still had kings. At least we'd be taken care of better.
That's what
Awkward
you
laughing
think.
continues.
All right. Is there like a mayor or other equivalent?
Oh yeah,
Someone in
that's who
charge of
will
the
want to
area?
talk to you. But based off of what you told me, you probably don't want to go talk to him, especially if he knows you're from the council. With what you told me, you probably just should avoid him.
He probably doesn't want to murder us, so better than some mayors.
You've had a mayor want to murder you.
In our defense, there was a coup in the city.
Yeah, it wasn't like an official mayor. It was, it's complicated.
They wanted to kill a lot of people.
Interesting.
So-
Anyways, lovely inn.
Yeah. Is it a lovely inn though? How on a scale of 1 to n, how good is this inn so far?
Like a 2.
That's not a very good inn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be cleaning my section of the table and whatnot then.
So, does it have a red roof?
No, it has a thatched roof.
This is the village.
All right.
So, what's our plan? Do we want to go try and talk to the council or the local administrative representatives anyway? It
Yeah.
sounds like there's not
Yeah.
it sounds like there's not a lot of we probably want to send at least one person around to try and gather up if there's any rumors from anyone that's not in charge of stuff.
Yeah, man, that sounds great.
Cool. Maybe we'll all go to the mayor equivalent first and ask them like how many homesteads are there and where are they? Maybe they have a map.
Hey, yeah, just go. Well, I mean, just be forward. Like, hey, we've been informed that people are going missing, and we're here to investigate that.
And so we need to talk to people.
Yep.
Boots on the ground.
I mean, I could stand outside and use thaumaturgy to boom my voice like, hey, we're looking for info on missing people.
If you are a loved one, suffer from mesothelioma.
I mean, that'd be a great way to get missing people murdered if they weren't already, but
Yeah, we're here to save the missing people. Oh no, they've been killed.
So,
So yeah,
Mayor,
I guess we eat and head to the mayor equivalent.
Okay.
completely ignore that dude's advice.
Do we
I
want to
mean-
split up and fan out, or do we all want to go to the mayor?
I think step one, go to the mayor first, and then break out from there, kind of. Especially if it's like we're not getting anything from him, or her, or them.
and if they try to attack us, well, 6 is better than 2.
I mean, true. I'm not really worried about being attacked right now.
Do you perhaps remember the history of this group?
I don't have any obvious religious symbols on me. To the mayor.
All right. So you head out into the village. The village is starting to pick up. There are a few people bustling around the city streets as it is. As you exit the inn, you are approached by one of the city guard. So, you're the council representatives in town. Follow me.
Okay.
Sure, why not? I'm gonna insight this guy just in case.
Okay.
Not that I'm very
He's
good
actually
at
the
insight.
murderer.
Yes. Never mind. I believe this man implicitly. Actually, it's probably more like Mizeki doesn't care and is expecting to not get help at this point. So someone offering to help, he's like, sure, fine, whatever.
All right. So the guard leads you through the city until you come upon one of the larger lanes in the city. This is on the southern side of the city, and you can see the river just beyond it. He goes in, opens the door, and gestures for you to go inside.
Can we see the other side of the river from where we're at?
You can see the other side of the river.
And can we see the other town on the other side?
Yeah, there are buildings on the other side of the river.
And is there any obvious bridges from our vantage?
Nope.
How about boats or like ferries?
Nope.
Signs
Cool.
of piracy.
We could have totally jacked that guy's boat.
Taking this boat. Oh well, such is life. Where would we have gone? Like across town?
Take that
That's
thing on the big
mean.
seas.
Yeah, we're like, hey, dude, are there any pirates around here? He's like, no. We're like, look again.
That's what you
That's
did.
where you're wrong, bucko.
The pirates were on your boat all along.
Arr.
But all right. So are you going inside, or are you all just kind of staring at the river still?
No,
I'll go
we,
in.
we get there, we just chill at the river for 3 days straight.
Yeah.
Then the
I'll
council
follow-
pages us, and we're like, that sucks.
All right. So as you go into the building, then you can see inside. This is much nicer interior here than the inn where you were at. And there are a few people bustling about in this building. Eventually, you're approached by a half elf with short brown hair and a nicely trimmed beard. And he comes up to you. You must be the council representatives we asked for. It is good for you to come. My name is Lawrence Amberfond.
I'm gonna let you know before we get into this too much. We are probably not the council representatives you asked for. We are here on an individual investigation for missing persons.
What was
Who
his
did
name
you
again?
ask for?
His name is Lawrence Amberfond. So, you're not here to discuss separating us from the nation of Drusus?
Nope.
Not at all. It sounds like perhaps some administrative overhead has occurred. We are 100% part of a multi-team process to attempt to find and locate missing persons in the region.
He just puts his head in his hands. I guess. Of course. Of course. They never respond. Missing people, there haven't been any missing people in our city for years. Not since long before I was born. You know what? My grandmother might be able to answer any questions about missing people, because she was the mayor at the time when it was reported. But
That
once you ask her questions, you leave my city. If you are not here to discuss, on behalf of the council, our separation, we do not want council representatives here.
Sir, may I ask how long ago you requested council representatives to meet with you about this?
About 2 years ago.
I turned to the rest of the group and maybe the council representatives they asked for are the missing people. At this point, it's a
that
possibility.
That
we
would be
should
unfortunate.
ask. Elandio, can we send out a message and ask about this real quick?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can maybe do a little bit of on the ground communication. Be like, what do you mean? Their form was misfiled.
Yeah, if nothing else, that'll, put a bug in their ear about it.
So you
From the
want me
group
to
that constantly causes trouble.
use a sending to them?
Yeah, I think that's our best bet because they didn't give us a rock because we can do it ourselves now.
Who do we want to message?
Representative for this area
You
is.
said Drusus.
Yeah, they're under Drusus, right? And they
Mhm.
want to
So
form their
that
own region, but they're under
would be
Drusus.
Marble, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Marble's the Grand
Marble's head.
Counselor.
Marble's the head counselor. That's
Oh, let's take it right to the top.
No.
That's not how you do this. If we're gonna ferment revolution, we have to start in the proper channel.
It's not revolution to like go through the proper process.
Looks like I have notes here that the counselor for Drusus is a Victor Goodman.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, so
Goodman.
we will contact Mr. Goodman.
Okay, what do we want to ask?
I guess basically, so far, no indication of missing persons. Mayor requests information on creation of new council region as of 2 years ago.
Okay.
I'm completely
Um,
open to suggestions on wording here, guys, or anything like that.
yeah, could we not maybe ask, such as like Mayor and Hamlet requested council reps 2 years ago. Have any been sent? Uh, investigating missing person rumors.
And make sure we specify we're at 2M Hamlet.
Mayor Amberfund.
Yeah, Mayor
Yeah.
Amberfund. Let's check this. Okay, well, so currently no missing people reported in Hamlet. Mayor Amberfund.
Add at the end, insurrection possible.
For council meeting on 2 years ago. Just trying to get a word count here.
Yeah.
That's always the hard part with the spell, right?
That's 16.
I would like to point out during all of this, Mazeki is entirely unsurprised by the council's inaction.
You mean the council might have done something that's You're totally incompetent? Oh my god, say it ain't
I mean,
so.
it's not necessarily total incompetence, but just like if someone's like, "We're seceding from the Union," you're like, "Sure."
Maybe
Okay,
it's what that
so
druid was doing.
I've got 20 words. I've got currently no missing people to report in Hamlet. Mayor Amberford asked for council meeting 2 years ago. Were any messengers sent? We have 5 more words. If anybody wants
I
Continuing
to
would
do that.
say,
investigation. Go ahead, Zerdig.
I would say, like, could messengers be missing or something? Because we don't just want to know if messengers were sent. Because they'll just be like, no, file with the
Could
form, whatever.
they
We want to know if they
be
were the missing ones.
missing? Were any sent and could they be missing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That's perfect number of words. So that's
Okay, so what's our final wording?
I put in the planning one. Currently, no missing
Alright.
people reported in Hamlet. Mayor Amberford asked for council meeting 2 years ago. Were any messengers sent? Could they be missing?
All right. So a moment later, you get the response from Victor. Keep investigating for missing people. I do not know of a request from Mayor Amberfond. I will see if we have any record of it. No messengers would have been sent.
Cool.
I guess now we tell the poor mayor, hey, they don't have any record of your request. How did you send the request?
They lost the form.
Yeah. How did he send the request? I guess is the next question. Because if they sent people and those people, whatever,
So
or
you
they just
tell
send
him
it
they
by
don't have
mail.
the request.
Yeah. We'll tell them that the counselor doesn't have any immediate indication of a request, but we'll search their records. And how was the request sent?
The same way that you just sent a message. We are not strangers to magic in these parts. We have reached out many a time to the councils.
Ooh, that's
They
not good.
ignore us. Always have.
And you were contacting specifically Mr. Goodman? Or the relevant counselor at the time, I guess.
For a while, we have been contacting with Goodman, or, well, his Golden Shield is who we have been communicating with. Proper channels and all.
And nobody ever
Sorry.
told us.
Do you recall the name of this golden shield?
Yes, it is. I'm just pulling it up for him. Where's my notes? It is. Yes. It is Ivia. She's an ASMR.
Oh, that's the pretty ASMR lady.
Okay. Is there any last name for her that she might have given you?
No, most ASMR only go by their given name.
Well, they've requested that we continue investigating. If you'd like to draft a formal document, I will be happy to present that upon our return to Drusus for you.
Yes, I will write something up. Like I said, you can go talk to my grandmother about missing people. She tells stories about it all the time. It's legend at this point. No one believes it ever happened. She's a bit not all there anymore.
Can you tell us a little about this legend before we go speak to your grandmother?
She says when she was a kid and growing up that kids used to just randomly go missing in the middle of the night. But nothing has happened since I've been alive. Um, my parents never told me of anything going missing. My grandmother's in her mid 200s, so she's been around for a while.
Like, where would those kids go missing from?
They'd just be walking through the city, and the next thing you know, they were gone.
Oh, here in Hamlet with two M's, not one M.
Yes. And he just kind of gives you a suspicious look. Did they send
Well,
you here? Are you not really from the council? That would explain why you're kind of worthless and useless.
Excuse me, sir.
can I please elbow Zerdig and just ask him to, like, please shut up now?
He does.
All right, then, let's go talk to your grandmother. I am concerned that we may be experiencing what might be called rumor dilation, given our original source of this information.
That's so true. Orion's like hundreds of years old, right? So he's like,
Yeah,
I
and
heard
so
this
it's
rumor once
entirely reasonable.
100
Yeah,
years
like he
ago.
heard this. Yeah, like 200 years ago, he heard like about this, and it never got brought up.
Yep, Orion's old,
Excellent. Cool.
which would explain why, you know, Victor hadn't heard of anything when you reported it to him.
Yeah. 200 years ago, an ancient cult was stealing children, and we just didn't talk about it for a while.
No, but now we get to deal with the aftermath because they succeeded in summoning some great evil that has been slumbering.
In the lake.
All right. So Lawrence directs you to his home where his grandmother is at. As you make your way through the village um, to his home, you knock on the door and you are greeted by a human in about his late 70s, and a beautiful elf woman with long blonde hair as well. Hi, what can we do for you? She says.
Hello there. We are investigating missing persons, and we're directed here by the wonderful mayor.
Oh, our son asked you to come speak with his grandmother. She does love to tell
Yes.
that story.
Yes, we take
Just,
all investigations seriously.
well, come on in. She will be happy to have someone to tell the story to again, who hasn't heard it 1,000 times.
I love stories.
They
How does
invite you inside.
Centaur going into people's houses like? How do I clean my feet?
You wipe them on the doormat like every other civilized person.
Both sets.
Can I do that? What control of my feet do I have? Horses don't seem to have a lot of control of their feet. I'm just saying.
If you've ever been stepped on a horse, they have perfect control of their feet. They're just jerks about it.
Oh, that makes sense. All right. So we'll go in and let's meet this person who may have reported something several hundred years ago.
All right. So they bring you in and sit you down, and the elven lady brings you all some tea. And as you are sitting there and drinking it, eventually this old elven lady with graying hair and eyes that are covered with cataracts comes down, being led by the old man. He leads her, sits her down, and says, "Mother, they would like to hear the story of the missing children. They've come from the council." And once he says that, he gets up and leaves. And she chimes in. She goes, "About time they sent you. Been trying to get council's business to come out and help us for a long time. So,
Well, we are doing the best we can.
you're gonna help find all the missing children."
Our hope is to put this matter to rest. It has been quite some time, unfortunately, but hopefully we can find information and answers, and if possible, anyone missing.
What do you mean it's been quite some time? It was like 2 months ago. And
What
the
what
other
date do you
elf
believe it is?
goes, "She has trouble with years." She
That's
goes,
fair. What date is it, ma'am?
uh, it is the year 415.
I'm gonna write that down. It's definitely not that year.
No, it's currently 600.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll record this information. Mizaki's going to be using all of his skill with writing nicely to like actually write notes down.
It always takes a
Okay.
few months for you guys to get out here anytime we request anything. But we're always happy when you do.
It certainly does, and it's very unfortunate. We hope that that time will improve in the future.
Mhm.
Would you mind, just so we can be accurate on the details, if I gave you a little spell to help you remember very clearly the details?
Oh, I remember the details very clearly, dear. I was a young woman.
Understood.
Now, why are you all here again?
Missing people, ma'am.
We wanted to hear your account of the missing children.
Oh, the missing children. Yeah, that's been a long time.
So
So,
the story?
yeah. Well, when I was the mayor, 190 years ago, fresh young elf, and she kind of just stops and she goes, "There were lots of children that loved to run around the city, running through the
Hmm.
streets, playing, having a good time. I'd always invite them over to have some snacks and candy from my office whenever they wanted. They'd come in all hours of the day. It was always good to see happy, smiling children. But eventually they just all stopped coming. First one, then another. I don't know whatever happened to them. I always go looking for them, though. Never could find them.
You know any of the children's names?
Yeah, so there was this sweet little halfling girl, that used to come by all the time. Um, if I recall, her name was uh, Hayen, I think was her name. That sounds right. Hawin, maybe?
Are the other children, this lady's other children, still in the room? They all walked away, right?
Yeah, they've left. They've heard the elf's mother ramble about this many, many times.
As
And
she's kind of struggling with coming up with some of the detail, Ori reaches out and kind of holds her hand for a moment and kind of gives her a nod. And I'm going to cast Enhance Ability for Fox's Cunning and kind of clean up her memory just a little bit.
okay, that improves intelligence.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so as she goes on, she continues. She goes, "We used to see them running around the city, and eventually they just disappeared. Sometimes in the middle of the day, even. They'd be walking down a street, they'd turn a corner, and then they were just gone. No one could find them. Parents used to panic. They'd all come complaining to me because I was running the city. But I didn't know what was happening. I was doing everything I could. So I sent for you because you've got a lot more resources than we do. And
Was there
she's definitely a lot more coherent now after you've cast this spell.
good? Uh, was there a specific corner that they would turn around, that they would disappear, or was it just random throughout the city?
Just random throughout the city. Um, it happened mostly over the course of about 6 months. I think we lost 15 children in all.
Are any of the parents of those children still in town?
No, most are not races that live so long like I do, and have passed away. But
Any of their descendants?
no,
Their
usually
descendants
a
were captured.
child was
Well, yes.
taken, they were the only child, or both children would go missing if the parents had two kids. Felt so bad for them.
That is so sad.
Suppose it's out of line to ask if you've found any of the children. I mean, it's been nearly 2 centuries.
Never?
Do you remember if there were any travelers in the area, like during the time that the children were going missing? Maybe a tall, dark haired man or a blonde one? Maybe didn't go out during the day very much, but you saw him around at night?
Uh, we've never gotten too many visitors here in Hamlet. Uh, I don't recall any particular travelers coming there. We'd get a few. Used to get more than we do now, but none by the
Were there
description you're given that I can recall.
were there any other suspects that were looked into or questioned, or tracks, prints of any kind of beasts, possibly?
Though that's the thing is, there were no tracks. We'd turn a corner to go find where they were. No tracks whatsoever. It's like they just vanished. And not like the vanishing you can do with magic where you still leave tracks behind, but like gone completely from existence. Or at least this plane of existence.
Do you know if there are tunnels around town or underneath the town?
We've got sewers like most cities.
Did we ever, like, question, find out what the cuboid does?
Nope.
Okay, so we just
No.
know we're supposed to carry it around. This
Yeah,
reminds
Zerdig
me,
asked about it.
yeah, this reminds me very much of the arrival of the centaur and his companion. Is it possible that some sort of incursion has been happening in this area, but in the other direction?
Um,
Well, out of character, you're talking about like time wise, like in the planes.
so
Like, because we've seen stuff from the Feywild popping up in this world
yeah.
lately. Is it possible that maybe the kids popped out to the Feywild instead?
Yeah, but wouldn't there be like some residue of a portal or something like that? Or
Not for
maybe?
200 years. I don't
Well,
think.
yeah, but I mean, at the time it happened, wouldn't I don't know. I'm assuming magic like has a smell or something. Maybe it has a flavor. Um, do they maybe have like I don't know druids living around who might like wild shape into giant eagles and snag the kids off the streets? It's kind of unusual for people to go missing with no trace.
Madam, when at the time when you were mayor and the children were going missing, did you have any magic users at the time try to search for the children through arcane means? And did they have any possible results?
We had a few look, but no such luck. We heard reports from the other hamlet that they were having similar problems at the time, but we don't know. We thought they were taking our children for a while. That's how we found out that they were also missing children.
Were any other were any elf children taken? Or are they all more of the shorter lived?
Mostly it was the shorter lived races that were taken. Um, Not many elf families here besides my own, and my only daughter's still here. Right? She calls out. You're still here? You hear back. Yeah, Ma, still here.
Damn.
Do you remember any of the family names?
I think the halfling girl was Light Hands, and there were the Coopers. Um, their little boy went missing. I think his name was Franklin. They're human though, so long gone.
Hmm. And do you remember, were there any odd events around the time people stopped going missing?
I don't remember anything particular happening.
Any weird omens, sun being brighter, weird constellations, animals acting weird?
Or maybe something odd with the river, um, unusual weather, um, odd travelers, anything that might have just seemed a little bit out of place.
Perhaps missing livestock from some of your local farms? Or were any adults missing around that time as well? Or was it just children?
I don't remember any adults going missing, but the farmers reported a few of their livestock going missing occasionally. I think that was about a year leading up to the children going missing, though.
Interesting.
Once the children started going missing, there definitely weren't any more livestock going missing. Or if there were, the farmers weren't telling me.
Hmm.
How long does
I'm
your
gonna
spell
write
last
down.
for?
It's an hour.
Concentration for an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna write down on the like side panel of my notes, um, possible infiltration monster, like something that looks like a person or whatever, and show it to the others. 'Cause, like, if it's something that needed to grow for a while, and then it could start kidnapping people.
Have you talked to anyone from Harrington about the missing people,
Or any of the other
or
countries
Drusus
anywhere.
or Hamlet or anywhere else?
We sent messengers to The counselors in Drusus all the time. So the counselors definitely knew about it.
Did
Are
you
there
ever?
any? Go
Sorry, I
ahead,
was gonna
Zazie.
say, did you ever speak to anyone, in any authority directly, or did you just send the messages?
Um, I sent messengers. I never spoke with anybody directly in person.
Are there any ruins or derelict structures in the area surrounding this town? Someplace a little more desolate or removed.
Uh, there are a few small villages. The further south you go, the deeper that you get into the folly. It gets a lot more dangerous there, so there's not many people there. Uh, you'll have to head well south to get to those few villages, though. Um, we don't check on them much because it's not our responsibility, but we've sent people there occasionally.
For where the children had gone missing in town, is there a map or someplace we can see the specific locations that they were last seen? Something to potentially track where their movements through town?
I can show you a few of the places where they went missing. Uh, I used to be able to show you where they went missing, and she kind of puts her head down.
Were they all near each other, or were they pretty spread out? Were they near, say, the river, or near a certain neighborhood of town?
It's various places all throughout the city.
Were there sewer accesses near the disappearances?
A couple of them, yeah, but not all of them.
And I assume your sewers just lead out to the river.
Yeah.
We need legend lore. Whatever the crazy higher level divination stuff is.
This is probably gonna sound silly, but there ever been rumors or legends or stories about any monsters that lived in the area, maybe way back?
Ugh. Old legends ends from the time of the folly that the land itself used to eat people, but no one ever believed that.
That seems pertinent.
Do you recall any of the details of that legend?
They say that is the curse of Typhon's folly, is that the land just swallows you up. What that really means is if you go out and venture down into Typhon's Valley, it's a lot more of swamp and muck land that you're more likely to get stuck in than is normal and was natural for this area. It doesn't literally open up and swallow people.
Or does it?
Or does it? That is the
Bum.
question.
And just the land, huh? That's the only rumors you remember, is just the land eating people.
That's what they said Typhon's Folly was when the follies happened, is that the lands would swallow up people. But,
Hmm.
I mean, we're not really even in Typhon's Folly up here on this side of the river. And the other hamlet's built right along the river. They're not really in Typhon's Folly either. It's a little further south. We call ourselves from there because people know where Typhon's Folly is, so it makes us easy to locate. But Typhon's Folly starts a little further south.
You heard any reports ever of bullets in the area? Do you know what a
Um,
bullet is?
they used to occasionally come out, but they tend to stay away from the cities. So, enough people here to drive them off.
Hmm.
They tend to surprise travelers cutting across the fields to the ocean, though.
Yeah, we encountered a few of them and dealt with them recently.
It's not too uncommon. If you stick on the roads, though, you're usually a bit less likely to come across their territory.
Yeah, we were trying to make better time across the land. Now, I know you said you reached out to the other hamlet and asked them about their missing children as well. Did they tell you about how many they had missing? Because I know you said you had about 15 kids here.
No, they just accused us of taking their children like we accused them. We didn't share any details. We don't get along. Never have.
I've heard. I just wondered if maybe they gave you a number at any point. That's all.
Nope, and I never gave them one.
These sounds must really hate each other. They're both like, our kids are missing. Let's help each other. Well, they didn't say that, but even when they asked to help each other, it was like, nope.
Our kids are missing. You took our children.
Yeah, these towns hate each other, for sure.
That's unfortunate because that could have helped.
All right. That's all I have. Anyone else?
Um, the only thing I can think of is where's the best watering hole in town? 'Cause we should probably get a drink before we check in with your grandson again.
Where was the best place to drink 200 years ago?
Insanity, you're
Let's
on mute if you're talking.
let's face it. If it's good 200 years ago, it probably still has people now.
If it still exists, right?
Okay, yeah, but
Um, so you can head uh, off to the Talented Oak. It's the local pub.
I think if we're all done, um, questioning Mayor Amberfon's grandmother, maybe we can go there and talk to some of the people in the pub.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. We may swing by later if we have some more questions, but this information should hopefully be helpful to get us started.
I will thank her for her story in Elvish and wish her Arnwell's blessings.
All right.
Yeah, Zerdig will say bye in Elven as well. Elvish.
Or I will say, thank you for all of your assistance, and try and smile. And again, it's an awkward, weird, creepy smile.
Which she can't see, so. All right.
And thank you again for talking to us, ma'am. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, young ones.
Since this is a episode of Law and Order D&D, apparently, I demand we walk onto an NPC who's just like baling hay in the field or loading a truck, and is like, "Yeah, I ain't never seen him."
And we have to interrupt him in the middle of his
Yeah,
work.
Exactly.
without preamble. Just, hi there, we're here from the investigative unit.
Yeah,
This
let's make
case
it
And
is
he'll
happen.
vanishing.
he will
This
keep
case is
working.
vanishing just before our eyes, and I yank
Yeah,
off my mask.
he will keep working while we talk to him too. It's very important that happens.
All right, so you make your way to the Talented Oak.
Yeah, making our way to the oak.
Inside, there's a human bartender, or in his early 20s, very excitedly as y'all come in. He goes, "Ooh, customers! What drinks will you be having? We've got some mead and we've got some ale."
I
I'm
do want
fine,
to
thanks.
say before, like, as we're heading over that way, Mizeki will point out, like, is it not weird that people were missing 200 years ago and they just never really talked about it? And it stopped happening and they're just like, good enough? Is that not odd?
I'm very concerned that their communications to Drusus have gone largely amiss.
Yeah, that
Something,
isn't good.
something's off.
Almost like they're being ignored and are angry about it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
bet
but
they never sent the messages.
Or the messages aren't getting through. Because it's one thing to be ignored, and it's another to not
Or the
have gotten
message,
any
or
messages.
the person sending the message lied about sending the message.
well, yeah, but does that change that a bunch of children were missing?
No,
That's
well, if they were trying to get help from the bigger source, and the person said they were sending for help but never did.
I'm with Alondale on that one.
How l- m- populated is this town?
You'd estimate the low thousands.
Does it look like there's anything randomly abandoned in town? Carts, derelict houses, anything along those lines?
There are a few things that look abandoned in the city, um, but no like carts or anything. Mostly buildings.
As we're working our way through town to the Talented Oak, Ore is going to kind of really start taking putting his attention towards anything that's abandoned, the abandoned buildings, looking for any odd indications of each of the structures.
Okay. I just got a work call. So you guys discuss what you want to do while I look at that real quick, and I'll be right back.
All
This is
right.
very concerning, but I am totally in for the uh, Law and Order.
Well, so that's the
Yeah.
thing. He's like,
Valet CSI.
the guy's like, oh, what can I get you? No thanks, I'm on duty.
I
You can
vote
be on duty. I'll have some meat.
we go to the abandoned warehouse. That's where all the crime happens in all those shows.
I want to go check out the Light Hand family.
We gotta go
Alright,
down to the
they're
docks. It's
gone.
always the docks.
Everybody's gone. Like the light hands have left.
Or died.
because it was 200
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but maybe their family still has stories. I mean, that's a pretty jarring thing if, like,
Well, yeah, but they're
yeah,
gone or dead.
great grandma just like up and disappeared one day.
None of them had more kids though.
Did the
Like
parents have siblings though?
Oh, that's true. Maybe we can
Or
find
did
out.
the parents survive? That's the
Yeah,
other thing too, though,
the
is that
missing
it's
could
highly
should have had
unlikely.
siblings. Yeah.
You have 15
She said most of the
different
kids.
families.
She said most of the kids were either only children, or if the families had like two, both of the kids went missing. So we have no direct descendants.
Oh.
But there might be, cousins, neighbors, oh yeah, my great aunt Hayen went missing,
Yeah.
100 years ago or something.
But
It
it's
was a
highly
cult.
unlikely. It's highly unlikely that of all 15 of those families, A, that none of them are in the town, B, that none of them found their kids or had other kids. Like, it's all very convenient, even if it
It's
was 200 years ago.
it's a cult. All the kids were sacrificed. Or Pennywise is real and he's here. Or was.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the kids were sacrificed, but what for and why? Like, was it for worship? Was it they were, I don't know, drained dry? Were they, used as labor? I think knowing the why might help, but to do that,
How
we'll have to
long
find two.
ago did Orion say his brother started taking charge of the place after they chased off their grandfather?
It was a while.
I, I do wonder if we should try and find those sewers. Not that it's going to be really exciting searching through the sewers. Nothing has happened apparently in 40 years, but I guess you never know. You might find bones.
Zerdig is pretty motivated to solve this mystery because it's super messed up.
Or can you smell anything?
Well, I never drew a nose on Ore. I'm assuming he has the sense of smell, but I don't have proficiency in it. Can try.
I mean, let me put it this way: if you can't smell, better that you go down in the sewers than say me or Mazeki.
Well, I don't breathe, so that's
We can
easy enough for
send
me.
Z2, yeah. We can send either of them. They don't need to breathe.
I mean, technically,
And
I don't
then
need to breathe, but
we're
Doesn't mean
gonna
you want that on
send
your
in
clothes.
the robo team.
Send in the drones.
It becomes a Robo Team buddy cop show.
Yeah.
Ore and Z2.
Alright, and Z2.
Z2 with the hilarious antics because he's a robot trying to work on his own, and Ore has to set him straight all the time.
You're a loose cannon.
Damn it,
okay.
Z2. I was supposed to depend on you.
We're supposed to be
This is-
partners. You're supposed to be there for me.
This is
In the
my
case of
last job.
I think I'm too old for this.
I could also try sending the other team and see what's going, if they have information to share.
Oh yeah, that's it's a good
maybe,
idea.
I kind of want to wait for that until the evening in case they haven't
Yeah.
gotten there yet.
Yeah, give them
Yeah.
some opportunity. And we told them it wouldn't come until later.
Yeah. Do we know what we want to do in the pub? Because obviously the barkeep is probably a little too young to have heard of this. I mean, we can ask him, but I wouldn't depend on it. Could we maybe ask if he has any waitresses or any other staff that might have known, or if he
Your
knows of any of the
grandma's still in
regulars?
town.
Hey, you know?
Maybe any other legends or other lore. Like everyone's gonna have their own view on things like that. But I think we should probably investigate. I think that investigating the riverfront, investigating the sewers, and like maybe even checking out some of these abandoned buildings.
Well, and to confirm, what are the timelines we're looking at for the last time somebody went missing?
40 years.
Was the most recent, and like
Yeah.
grandma's story missing kids was what, 200 years?
Yeah, it was like 200 years when some of the main
190,
happened.
but yes.
Right, but so if it's happening every
185.
but if it's happening regularly over a period of time, like again, yeah,
Over X
100 and some odd years ago and then 40 years ago, that's possibly coincidental.
I mean, if it's a sustained thing, then it could be like a gathering power scenario.
Or just a reoccurring event that happens. The river monster wakes up every 50 years or something.
I want to talk to somebody about why they call what what folly they know of here.
The people get sucked into the ground. That's apparently their folly.
And don't we? That's a very explainable thing of what could have happened to the missing people?
Well,
Yeah, but they were vanishing in the middle of like town.
yeah, and
not
Typhon's
behind
falling
the
there.
city.
They vanish in the swamps further to the south.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be like on a city street. It sounded like at all hours of the day, but not necessarily in an area where the ground is or the land is inherently hazardous.
I'm just gonna say this place sounds terrible to live. The actual
Yeah.
ground can gobble you up. There's
Well,
bullets.
The
There's
ground
this thing.
nearby. Like it's everything. This is like living near the outback. This is like living in Sydney, Australia.
This is sort of like living in Orlando.
If you go out of town, a bunch of really bad things happen.
But with less amusement parks.
Yeah. If you
Yeah, no, I'm
stay in
talking like
town, occasionally children disappear.
technically Disney's in Buena Vista, which is outside Orlando. But I mean, there are the Everglades and such like, and you don't go messing around with that.
Oh, I should have asked Granny if she thought this had any relation to the nature of Typhon's Folly.
All right, let's go search for more clues.
All right. So, what are you guys doing?
Or
Come on.
Ore's going to investigate the buildings that are derelict as we're making our way towards the talented oak.
And later we're gonna send the robot and the dog robot into the sewers.
I want to talk to a relative of the person who was last reported missing, like 20 or 40 years ago, whichever it was.
Okay.
Are
I'm
we
gonna.
gonna split to do all this, or are we going all together sequentially?
I mean, yeah, we can split or go together. I just think it'd be beneficial if there's recent ones are more likely to have people still alive that remember more recent
Yeah.
events.
Well, I'll talk to the barkeep and anyone who comes into the pub. See if anybody has any legends, recollections, anything like that.
Sanzi's like, yeah, guys, I got this on lockdown. Good luck.
Elondiel, if you are able to speak to any remaining family, see if you're able to discern if there's any objects the children vanished with. Potentially something that you can sketch for me.
Okay. So do you want to split up for it, or
I mean, I'm down to stay here and order a drink as well.
Okay, so how about Mizeki stays with me, and how about Elandio and Ito go together? And that way Zerda can be on hand if there anything goes sideways with Z2.
Zerdig can go with me to investigate the buildings and potentially find all the sewer entrances that we can.
Great. Do
Yeah.
we have a map of the town?
You do not.
Is there anywhere where we could see a map of the town? Or would that be like we have to go back to the mayor and deal with his discontent?
Is the town big enough to need a map, or is it because it's a pretty small location, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, even small cities have maps, though.
Sure.
But yeah, like it's not that
You got
large. So,
you got to pay your taxes, which means
But
they have
do
to know
do
how
we
much land you
need
have.
the map to navigate, or is it like one main crossroads and then we can figure everything out from there?
there's a few
Yeah. Is
main
it?
crossroads, but you guys can figure it out pretty easily. There's the
Okay.
river as a good reference point on the south side of the city.
I was just gonna think it would be handy if we could have all of the entrance and exit points for the sewer marked down, and if we had a map, we could just draw an X or whatever on it.
Right.
So I guess while you're walking along, try to take notes on that.
Can do.
All right, let's split up.
Okay. So you're not all going to the Talented Oak. Only Mizeki and Satsi are going there, and everybody else is splitting up to do different things.
Yep.
I think the way that at least I'm envisioning it is that we all go to the tavern together because we did some RP about like what do we want to drink here and da da da, and then we probably talk around a table of what we're gonna do and then split up.
Okay.
Yeah. That sounds like the plan.
Okay. I just got confused because Ori said he wanted to do this on the way to the pub.
Yeah, just kind of doing just I guess perception checks on the derelict buildings as we pass them.
Okay. Yeah, you see that there are some. Like, if you want to go and investigate them, you'll actually have to go and investigate them, which is why
Right.
I got the confused that you were splitting up before getting to the pub. Okay.
No, no. I'll after we split up from the pub. That's what Ore will go
Okay.
try and do. And apparently, have cartographer's tools, and if I remember right, I think we got those in the town that doesn't like homeless people.
Orthrus.
Orthrus, that's it.
Orthurst?
Yeah. So I don't have proficiency in cartographer's tools. I just have them, so I can probably make my own map
Just
as
not
best I
very
can.
well. Yeah.
Not very well.
Okay.
Before we all split up, Zerdig will tell everybody again the signal is the sound of the gun. So if you hear that, something's going down. Never mind you, listeners or other party members, that this doesn't cover the other 2/3 of the party, but
I
only
mean,
1/3 of those 2/3 is actually going out of the pub, so I don't expect
I can make a
life-threatening
gun
things to
sound.
happen. Boom.
Yeah, I can make a gun sound.
And Elondio can speak really, really loud. So I
Yeah,
guess the
and
word is
Landio
just
can go
loud there.
bang at like 300 feet.
Yeah, both Ore and Elondiel can do that. Zirdig can obviously make a loud sound. I'm sure everybody's got something that can make a loud sound.
Okay.
Thunderwave.
So let's start with Alandiel and Ito. You two are splitting up first to go, and you want to see if you can find someone from the most recent missing.
Yes, family members of the most recently
Okay,
missing
so you're going
person.
back to the inn to talk to the old man there.
Yep,
Okay. All
and
right.
get pointed wherever he can send us.
Okay, so you make your way back to the inn. The old man is there finishing cleaning up um, from the morning and getting that going. As you come in, he goes, ready to book rooms for the evening again?
We probably should. I believe we plan on staying in town again tonight.
It's good. You avoided the mayor, right?
No, but we did talk. We volunteered to take any official document that he wants to take rather than using magic, but to carry documentation of his requests to the council. We tried sending, and they said they're looking on their end for follow up information. We figured having a paper trail would make it much easier for them.
I'm surprised he didn't kick you out of town right away.
He wanted us to leave pretty quick, but we offered that, and he said he'd get to work drafting the document. In the meantime, I was wondering if you could provide any information on the family of the last reported missing person in town that we could reach out to.
Uh, well, you won't find any family. Last missing person was an elderly gentleman. Um, he had no family. Um, that was 4 years ago when I was a fresh young man myself. Um, they found him about 3 months later, um, way out in a field, torn to bits. It was not
Ooh,
a pleasant thing.
that sounds brutal.
Yeah.
Um, j- we talked with the mayor's grandmother, and she said quite a long time ago, when people were missing. Um, and I wondered if you've heard her stories and if you think, if you have any hypotheses about those.
There's not many people in this city that haven't heard her stories. She's kind of the nut of the town. Most people just kind of brush her stories off. I don't think they ever happened.
Have What do you know about the folly and the reason this place is called, this region is called Typhon's Folly?
I mean, Typhon's Valley's a little bit further to the south, but it's supposed to be real harsh lands that are hard to just kind of do anything in. They say it eats you, but like we've been there. It's just big old swamplands that, it's hard to get through. I lost a good pair of shoes in the muck. So.
You think any of those folly hazards could impact this far north?
I I mean anything's possible, obviously. Like crazy things happen, but I haven't seen any random bits of muck and things, except, what you'd expect by the river.
Okay. How well traveled is the river?
I mean, people come up and down the river not too unoften. Um, People come down from the mountains and take the river out to the sea to head out to Shimmerspire. It's a little bit faster than going there. And just walk into to one of the places. Just take a boat down the river. There's a port at the edge of the river where it meets the sea.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to looking around. I don't know if the mayor uh, will change his mind, so I don't want to fully book the room, but can I give you like a silver down payment to hold them for us? And then if we're not chased out of town uh, by the mayor's anger at the council, um, come back and pay the rest.
For sure, I can do that for you. You want the same two rooms, I'm guessing, one and two?
Yeah.
All right. We'll have those reserved for you.
Actually, I do find that I have a question for you. Do most people who enter town end up hearing about the disappearances and whatnot? Those who stay, I mean.
I mean, anybody that goes and talks to old lady Amberfond, they hear about it for sure. She loves to tell. But she stays mostly in her house these days. So, no.
Okay. Um, I was simply thinking there are a lot of you young people around, and it seemed a bit odd to me that there would be so many young people. I mean, obviously, you all presumably have parents, some of whom might still live in the area, but if there were disappearances and entire families going missing, you would think people would leave.
People left. People leave places all the time. Like, you left where you're from.
Well, that was hardly due to anything similar. That was mostly accidental.
People leave. Not necessarily have to do with anything.
Well, yes, I suppose. Never mind.
But, I mean, it sounds like you're kind of thinking what we all think is that it never really happened. Because it sounded like you were saying if that was really happening, everybody would have left.
Well, no, not quite. I do believe there is something wrong. I am simply not sure. It simply seemed odd to me that there were so many young people. I don't quite understand. Maybe I'm just getting old.
You don't look that old.
I suppose I don't. Ito, for reference, is, I think, less than 30.
Yeah, so the only person in this town that you've met younger than you then is the bartender.
Well, we'll get back to our investigation.
All
We'll
right.
most likely be back this evening.
Okay. Is there anything else the two of you would like to do?
Sounds like the most recent missing person is completely unrelated to the other missings that we know of so far. So I'm fine going back, as this looks like we hit a little bit of a dead end at that point.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and do um, Sadzi and Mizeki. You guys are staying at the pub to drink
Yep.
and ask questions of the bartender,
And anybody who happens to swing by.
the early 20s bartender. Got it. Okay. All right. So he brings you your drinks. The pub doesn't have that many people in it. It's early in the morning still. Um, so not many people have come in yet. The bartender, though, he keeps bringing you drinks as you ask for them. Is there anything in particular that you're wanting to ask of him?
Ozzy apparently wants to know if he's cute.
Depends on your definition of cute. So he's human, like I said, in his early 20s. He has kind of shaggy brown hair and green eyes, and a bit of scruff that he's trying to grow into a beard that just isn't coming in.
That's sad.
But depending on your definition of cute, he could be considered cute.
I guess our main questions for him are one, does he know anything about the disappearance of a couple hundred years ago? And two, does he know anything about the requests for the last few months about wanting to form your own region?
Okay. So to answer your first question, he goes, so you've been speaking with crazy old Amberfond, huh?
Yes, and I'm wondering if you all think that this person is having visions or something. Why was she your mayor?
I don't know. That was like
Like you
160 years before I was born.
and her grandson is your mayor.
Yeah. He does a great job.
Okay, just wondering. A lot of strange things. Messages apparently aren't getting through to the council. People possibly disappeared a long time ago, maybe not.
Wait, what makes you say the messages aren't getting through to the council?
We spoke with the mayor, and there may be some communication issues. It's being investigated.
We're pretty sure they're just ignoring us because they want to keep our taxes.
That's possible.
I mean, we can't be giving them that much, but I think it's really that they'd lose Idlexton too, um, just based on the recommendations that maybe they're not okay with that. I don't know.
What does your region produce? The council might be interested in.
Um, I mean, we have some farmland here, but like, we don't send much to Drusus. We pretty much just self-sustain, take care of ourselves. So
Hmm. How long does it take to reach Alexdam?
it's like 3 days by the road. So
Okay. Did we send the druid? Is the druid going that way?
you have no
Because
idea where
he's
the
come
druid
back
is
to the
going.
trees. Okay, we don't know. All right. Because that might be another destination for us.
That's even further away from Typhon's Valley.
Yeah. But it seems like a cool place. And the lady might be crazy. Who knows what's going on? This is wild. If there's
So,
another crazy person in the other town, I'm gonna have even more concerns.
so besides the mayor's grandmother, any other good stories to hear in town? Local legends, anything like that? I'm always down for a good story.
There was an old man that got himself killed and dismembered, found in a field like 60 years ago or something. I don't know. It was before my time. Hear about it
You
though.
know,
It was
do you
gruesome
know
but
who could
awesome.
tell us more about that?
Yeah. So like This old man who used to live in the city. He didn't have any family, never got married, had no kids. But he just worked out on his farm and come into the city bringing stuff. One day, he just kind of stopped showing up into the city, which, they thought maybe at first he was just sick, but they went to investigate, couldn't find him at his farm. So they reported him missing and kept on searching for him, couldn't find anything for him. And then a few months later, apparently, they found him dismembered in his field, looked like he'd been eaten partially. They're not entirely sure. That's what I hear. But
Ew. It's gross. Like something big was just chomping on him?
I mean, we get the few wild animals, so it's not unusual for like a corpse to get eaten if it's left out.
Still, that poor old guy.
Yeah. There are a few people that were around when it happened. You could probably ask them. They'd probably know a bit more. And as this happens, Alondiel and Ito come in.
Give them a wave and ask them if they've heard anything about the gentleman 60 years ago being eaten.
Yeah. Um, that's what we heard is the most recent missing person was an old dude that wandered off and was found dead in a field months later.
Yeah, see, they
Does
know about it.
doesn't seem to fit the MO of the other missing people.
All right. And with that, we will flip to Zerdig and Ore. So you were wanting to go investigate some of the abandoned buildings and anything else?
Yeah, the abandoned buildings and kind of make a map of sewer
Sewer
entrances
entrances.
through, yeah, through the town as we're kind of working our way through.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we find a pattern on the sewer entrances. We had talked about sending Ori and Z2 into the sewers just for recon, not for, yeah, hopefully not for any battle.
Okay. All right. Ore, since you were wanting to make the map, go ahead and make just a general intelligence check, and we'll see how well you're able to make a map.
Make a map, make a map, make a. That's a natural 20.
Okay. So you're pretty confident on being able to make your map and get it right with your navigation of the city. Go ahead and make dexterity to actually execute the creation of the map. How well do you draw?
That's an 11.
Okay. So you get a pretty good estimate of what you believe to be the city as, and mark down the locations there. A few of your lines are a little bit crooked and don't go perfectly straight, but you understand you're learning, and it's a
Yeah,
process.
that is a problem that I have.
Yeah. But you're pretty sure that you could give this to someone and they'd be able to find the locations that you've marked with the sewers entrances.
Cool.
Um, are you also wanting to mark abandoned buildings on this as well, or just the sewer entrances?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Put the abandoned buildings on there as well as the sewer entrances. See what correlates.
Okay. So as you're going through the city and doing this, you find about 7 buildings that are abandoned and a bit more run down. You don't see anybody in them as you go up and peek in through windows, knock on doors. They're definitely run down um, to where they don't look like anybody is living there. And you find 10 different entrances to the sewers throughout the city as you do. And so you get them all marked down on your map.
Does it look like people just packed up their stuff and left the building, or are these buildings abandoned with some personal effects inside?
So there are a few of them that have some personal effects that are still inside. But most of them, you look inside, there's a lot of just kind of broken furniture and not much else in the house.
Okay, and you said 10 sewer entrances.
Hmm.
Any sewer entrances that are really close to any of the abandoned buildings?
No. So
While we're going about and Ore is making this map and everything, Zerdig's going to be like the lookout, looking around and seeing if we're getting any undue interest from the town, furtive glances from windows. Like the town just giving kind of a weird, creepy vibe in general.
you definitely get looks. You guys stand out here, especially as a group, and specifically Ore and Z2 stand out from anything else here. And Mazeki. Centaurs don't come here much, but they get the few elves and humans, um, and they've seen Tabaxi before, but you don't have a whole lot of Tabaxi.
All right, but nothing really like dangerous, just like people largely being curious type thing.
Yeah, it's definitely the who are these people type thing. Like, who are these strange people in our city?
What do you got, Ore?
By my estimation, I've counted 10 sewer entrances, and about 7 of these abandoned buildings, there are some that still have personal effects in them, whether the individuals went missing or left in a hurry of some kind, some reason. This town seems a little awkward to me.
Zerdig is going to try and help, and he's going to make an investigation check of a whole 11 to see if he can help Ore out while looking at these places.
Okay. So is there a specific one of the buildings that you want to investigate, or just general
Yeah.
observations?
A couple of the ones that still have personal effects. Like, does it look like they just left in a rush and never came back, or it's just stuff they didn't want? Like, what's it look like?
So looking in through the windows, it definitely looks like people just left everything. And so looking through the windows, you can see that people have definitely gotten in since then, and things have been knocked over and bumped there. But you can definitely see there's dust everywhere, cobwebs, all sorts of things growing to indicate that no one really ever goes into this building anymore. But there are
So
several things here.
he wants to get inside and look for maybe even of 2 or 3 places and look and see if there's anything in common between them, right? Like, obviously, it'd be super convenient if there was a letter that's like, "Get out of town, or else we're gonna kill you," but that's probably not always gonna find.
Okay.
But just yeah, any common threads.
Okay. Um,
And
Go ahead.
are any of these buildings like clustered together, or are they just all spread out?
They are spread out throughout the city. So so yeah, going in to the buildings there, it really does just seem like people kind of packed up in a rush. So you make your way through their houses. So as you get to where like their chest of clothes are, and you can see that the clothes are just kind of scattered and spilling out, but there's not enough to have filled the chests that are left. So clearly people took things. And so you see that as people left in a hurry, but in others, everything is still there. It's completely full. It's like the people just completely vanished, um, and there was no one left to tend to the house.
Alright, dude, something's wrong here.
Very much so.
And this is a pattern. We've seen this on multiple houses now.
So it's about three of the houses have personal effects. Two of them look like people left in a hurry, and one of them looks like people just stopped showing up.
Can we tell from any of the personal effects in any of these houses that we're investigating who lived there? Either their race or names?
Um,
Anything that might identify them?
from the size of everything in the house, where everything is untouched, you would assume halfling, as it's not full size like a human would need. But from the others, you just know that they're a normal, medium sized race. But given the general composition of this city, it's a pretty good bet that they were human.
In any of the houses that look like they were abandoned without someone grabbing stuff and then quickly leaving, where it was just like flat out abandoning, are there any candles that have burned all the way down?
No. There are a few candles that are knocked over in candlesticks, but they have not burned all the way down.
Okay.
So, but yeah, as you are going through these houses, you can clearly see the tracks that you're leaving behind in the dust as you go and you kind of disturb everything. You're very clearly leaving trails and evidence that someone is in this house. So, just from the sheer fact that that didn't exist, you're assuming that you're the first ones in these houses in years.
Can I determine how many years may have passed with the dust buildup, or just the just a determination of time for approximately how long?
Make a survival check.
That is a 24.
Okay. Based on your knowledge of like how dust accumulates and things with that, um, you would estimate that several of these houses have been abandoned for a few decades. With the most recent house that just has a few bits of broken furniture in it having been abandoned for like maybe 5 years. And that's one of the ones that, it doesn't look like people left in a rush. It's just probably some kids got in and broke some things that were left in the house.
Gaia. Oh yeah. Any indication of any kind of foods that were left behind?
So there's no indication of any food in the two houses that you found that it clearly looked like people left in a hurry. However, in the house where it looks like people just stopped showing up, there is the remnants of old rotted food there that has essentially become fossilized.
Any holes in the floor? Any indication of something going down in any of these houses?
Um, there are a few holes in the floor, but that's more due to old and rotting woodwork, not like anything where you could climb down.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we didn't find any like tying threads between them at all.
Nothing that linked them together. So, other than their general state of disarray.
All right. Around now, Zerdig will kind of give Ori the nod, like we should get back with everybody else. We found enough to see there's definitely something weird going on. Is there any discernible pattern from the exits of like the sewers? Like, is there anywhere like what I'm asking is there anywhere where we would expect a sewer exit? There's not, or maybe they're all like arrayed around a central line that we could easily access.
So they are laid out in a pattern there. And the larger entrance is in the city center. But you don't spot any places where you would expect an entrance that there isn't one based on the pattern that you see.
What are the streets and thoroughfares made of in this town? Are they all like cobbled, or is it still dirt?
It is mostly dirt. The main road that leads from the northern entrance all the way down south to the river is got lined with cobblestone, but the rest of the roads and the sides, they're mostly just kind of gravel dirt roads.
So it's a pretty rustic place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, let's go. Let's just check out one of the sewer entrances too, right? Like not the main one. I think that'd draw too much attention, but maybe the most well hidden one, or one that's in a rural area.
Agreed. I'd try to find one of the sewer entrances that's near the closest to one of the abandoned houses where it looks like nothing, like no one showed up and took anything. They just vanished.
Okay, well, there's only that one house there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, the closest sewer entrance to that house is where Ore is fine, kind of poking his head in.
okay. So you'll make your way to the sewer entrance. Um, let yourselves down. It's about 10 feet down. A small little ladder to climb down.
How bad does it smell? I'm assuming horrible.
It's pretty bad.
Zerdig will not go down there. He'll stay up and like watch. He'll stealth in a bush or something.
You don't want to stay at the entrance and just kind of listen for me?
I mean, yeah, like around the entrance. He'll just try and
Gotcha.
find somewhere nondescript around the entrance to be. But so
Gotcha.
it's not super obvious. Like he's looking down the hole, like what's going on down there?
Yeah, like how busy are the streets around this entrance?
Um, they're fairly busy from what you've seen in this city, which is, about maybe 10 people every 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, so Ore will climb down the ladder and investigate just the local spot of this sewer, looking for, I guess, bones and any indication of any kind of beasts, claw marks, nests,
Yeah.
anything along those lines.
And Z2 will get sent down with instructions. Zerdig will send Z2 down and say, protect Ore and follow his commands.
Okay.
And Ore will say, "Be free, little brother, be free.
Z2 just wanders off and is never seen again.
Shake off the shackles of the madman. Be free. You're no one's slave."
All right. So you make your way down into the sewer, looking around for signs of the beasts. There are signs of animals down here, but it's the kind of animals that you would expect, rodents and such. So rats and whatnot roaming about the sewers. But there aren't any clear signs of any large beasts, and all the kinds of bones that you find are like small mammal bones, not anything that would be the size of any humanoid creatures.
Any indications of any kind of large tracks or anything?
Mm-mm.
Nothing that stands out. How far does, from my perspective, does the sewer run in either direction?
So where you come down, if you look towards your right, it extends easily another 200 feet. And if you look towards your left, it extends about another 500 feet. Um, and then straight ahead of you, it continues on for about another 30 feet before you can't see anything beyond there.
Okay, so it's a junction, and the one that goes like 30 feet down, it turns, so I can't see around the corner.
Correct.
Which way is the water or sewage running? Which
So
direction?
the sewage is running off to your right.
I look back up the tunnel and say, "I'm going to investigate a short distance down to the right. If you hear something, please assist."
Okay, be careful. Z2, alert if trouble.
So yeah, I'm gonna head downstream and just kind of maybe about 100 feet, 200 feet max, looking for any other possible indications that I'm looking for.
Okay, so 200 feet is where it ends as you're going to your right, and it turns irons, and so now that you're facing, it turns towards your right and continues on down. And you notice here, um, about 150 foot down, because you've got your ridiculous dark vision, that there is a large grate there that has a shimmer going through it. As you approach and get closer there, you notice that the water, as it passes through, is being purified.
So there's a grate that the water's passing through that is purifying the water to the other side, as some sort of an arcane effect on the grate,
Yes.
or is there some other indication there, like another device that's purifying the water?
It seems to be tied to the gate itself, the grate itself. So,
Any markings, notes, glyphs around the gate, writing?
no. So, unless you want to hop into the water and examine the grate close up,
I'm thinking.
Would he be jumping in the clean water or the dirty water?
he will be jumping in the dirty water. So, for him to get past this, he'd have to slip through the bars of the grate to get to the other side.
Does the bars of the grate look wide enough to let me through?
Not really. You could try squeezing, and you might be able to do it, given that you've got a pretty thin
Wild
frame.
shape.
Okay. I make a mental note of where on the map I think I am based on traveling underneath.
Hmm.
Do I see any other um, sewer entrances along this path?
Yeah. So water's coming from behind you as well, but since you were following the flow, so like if you turn around and head left past where you came in, water is continually flowing this way.
Gotcha.
Based on your estimate, you're probably pretty close to the river.
Okay, so they're just purifying it before it goes into the river. That's cool. Um, and then not seeing any indications of anything, any other creatures, any other elements, no other bones other than rodent bones.
Yeah. Small mammal
I'm
bones.
small mammal bones. Any sounds? Any creepy sounds down here?
Only the ones that Z2 is making at the command of Zerdig.
And how that great? How old does it look?
Uh, it looks immaculate compared to everything else that you've seen in this city, but that could just be that the magic is keeping it well.
Is there any indication that it was recently put here or that it's been here for some time?
No indication that it was put here recently.
So I am gonna cast detect magic, and I kind of want to see what, like, the specific effect, and is it just the grate, or is there something else around here that's causing this effect?
So the great is the magic. Um, it is giving off. Um, let's see what.
Transmutation? Would it be transmutation?
Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, it's transmutation.
Okay. Um, yeah. Not seeing quite what I'm looking for. I will head back to Zirdig.
Okay.
I am not getting into the water if I can avoid it.
Okay.
Like if there's a walkway next to the flowing stuff, I'll stay on the walkway. But if I have to walk, if I have to tread through the water, then I certainly will tread. But I will avoid that if I can.
Yeah. There are a few places where you can't avoid it, but for the most part, there are places that you can go and walk around.
Okay. And obviously, none of this water is clean.
Correct.
Yeah, I'll just head out. As I come back up the stairs, I didn't find any indication of unusual beasts down here.
And Ori smells a bit when he gets back to you, Zerdig.
We have to do something about that, buddy. He's gonna grease up the floor and then light it on fire. Not when they're in it, but like walk away. And then when it's like trace amounts of it, he's just gonna light it up to try and get rid of the smell.
So you're
'Cause he
having
has-
Ori stand in the fire?
I mean, if Ori wants to, he's definitely doing it for Z2, who probably also smells.
Yep.
I was hoping I still had purify water on there, but I don't. That's
If
not the
there's a
name of the
more
spell.
if there's a more intelligent way to do this, then Zerdig would probably think of it because he has a very high intelligence. But he has the spell grease and he has a lighter, and so he's gonna try and cover or mask the scent of disgusting refuse with at least one of a campfire or something.
Do you have the spell prestidigitation to clean him?
He does not. I would have
I
used
think
that.
I'm
Yeah.
the only one that has it.
All right. Well, you know to go get Mizeki then.
All right.
Is there any municipal water sources outside, drinking water, wash stations, um, fountains, anything like that around here? Horse drinking water troughs?
There are troughs at the farms. There aren't any communal sources in the city.
Okay. So no decent place to wash up once I get out.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to like a bathhouse.
Oh, is there a bathhouse?
Yes. That
Cool.
would be your communal thing, but like there isn't just a place that you can walk up and jump in.
Gotcha.
Did they
Okay.
even let him into a bathhouse?
I mean, the point of a bathhouse is to be cleaned. So,
Bathhouses are all Roman style, right?
There's a greasy, smelly robot walking around.
Oh no, what about Ori's beard?
I didn't submerge my face in this. It's just probably my feet and legs that got into it.
I tried to get him to do that, but he didn't want to look closer at the grate.
You can always build your new beard.
Yeah, I would assume I can stay mostly out of the water, so it'd just be my legs. How deep was it when I had to get into it?
It came up to like your knees.
Okay, yeah, so I'm good. I mean, not, but I'm good for my beard.
Yeah. I also think it's really funny because it's like Ore's mask that Zerdik made, then the beard underneath that, then Ore's real face underneath that, and so it's like the beard is sticking out in between the two faces.
I imagined that the mask actually has a beard on it,
Did
like
Zerdik
kind
put a
of a
beard on the mask?
yeah, kind of like a kind of like a Roman like battle mask where they carve the beard into it.
He
I
has
imagine that
multiple
kind of
beards.
effect. Yeah,
One of the
beard on
beards
beard.
is the beard inside his heart.
And one of them is the beard that you guys made for him.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you not familiar with Dexter's lab? It's not the beard on the outside, but the beard on the inside that matters.
So, all right.
Oh man, now I feel bad.
So what's the plan for you two? Are you going to a bathhouse, or are you just going back to find Mizeki?
Zerdig was just gonna go find Mizeki
Okay.
Yeah.
and get Ori and Z2 close enough, but like we're gonna take the back way and just kind of keep them a little bit out of the main line of sight. Like we're not gonna walk down the main thoroughfare of the city, even though it's a small town, smelling like refuse.
Okay. So after the four of you have been hanging out in the tavern for about 2 hours, whereas eventually Zerdig, accompanied by two smelly robots, walks into the tavern. And the smell is potent.
Yeah, I'm gonna immediately tell him, go back outside, and I'll start cleaning them.
Wait, yeah, that was the plan was for Zerdig to go and bring Mizeki to them. We were never gonna have them go in the tavern smelling like poop.
Fair. You probably smell vaguely of it too at this point, having walked with them.
I was just hoping the two robots would walk inside and the bartender would be like, "No, no, no, not in here. We don't serve their kind here."
We don't serve no robots here.
I'm gonna ask who they have send the messages to Drusus. Who's their caster of sending?
Who are you asking that to?
The barkeep, if he knows.
I don't know. They don't pay me to do that. I tend to the bar.
Cool.
We found like the one dude who's like young and knows nothing, and he works at the bar.
Yep.
Hey, you happen to have siblings, or are you like a only child?
I've got 3 siblings. They're all younger.
And okay, good to know. That's more than one. You're not an only child, and that's more than 2. Okay.
Is that some
Lonzo
kind of like
displaying his
weird elven
proficiency at
superstition
math.
thing?
Just
Yeah.
listening to uh, the former mayor's stories was all single children or like 2 kids going missing.
Crazy
So
old Amberfont. Got it.
3, yeah, 3 seems like it should be safe. And in your case, it has been. So
4.
that's
You forgot me. I've got 3
true.
siblings.
Oh yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're 4. You're well more than that limit. Okay.
We're double them.
So do you know who any of the local spellcasters are in town?
Um, we have some druids that come in every now and then. Um, they like to show off and do some things. They help the plants grow in the farms. There's an old wizard who keeps to himself in his little shack on the edge of town. I think he's still there.
You think he might be who the mayor has the sendings sent through?
I mean, he's probably who I would pick.
Cool. Thanks.
When we find out the wizard doesn't exist, everyone in this town is crazy. There's stuff getting into the water through the old thing.
Lead pipes.
Should we go check out the
Yeah,
wizard or
let's
ask
go.
the
Let's go
mayor?
investigate the wizard.
I
That
do want to
sounds
check out the riverside at some point.
As do I.
I'm just impressed by their infrastructure. It's like 1,000 people town, and they've got an auto cleaning sewer system.
Druids did it,
Well, you
man.
see, Mazeki, shit rolls downhill.
At some point, Ore would hand his map off to Alondiel to kind of inspect the quality of it and see if it makes sense to him for the drawing.
It makes sense. There's a few lines that are errant, and the scale's not quite right, but, you know. You could find the places that were marked on the map.
I would also try and indicate where the sewer is that we had gone into and kind of where it would have been, from my perspective, underlaid under the city as well.
Okay. Alright, so off to see the wizard?
the wonderful wizard of Hamlet.
You don't know if
Doesn't
he's
have.
wonderful.
It just doesn't have the same ring to it, Elandio.
But he is the wonderful wizard of Hamlet.
If he's still even around. I asked the bartender to point us which end of town
Goes, he's
and his
on
name.
the north side, um, 3 buildings in to the west from the first road when you come in from the north.
Thank you. Do you know a name, or do we just call him Wizard?
I always just know him as the old wizard. I've never like asked him his name.
You there, elderly spellcaster.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Wizard.
All right. So you make your way through the city towards this small shack. Um, Looking at your map, Ray, one of the abandoned buildings is just down the road a little bit further from this shack. But you go and knock on the door, and you're greeted by this very large, completely hairless man with very gray skin in very gray robes. Everybody always sees the wizard eventually. What can I do for you?
Hey, are we're traveling, and we're wondering if you're the wizard that sends the messages from the mayor to Drusus.
I've sent a few for him.
Cool. Um,
Do we
what type of
recognize?
message responses do you get back from them?
Do we recognize the race of this person?
He is a Goliath.
Nice. Goliath wizard. Wild.
He goes, they say that they are passing it up the chain. That Avaya, she's pretty good about things. Lets me know how things are going. Says they're still working on it.
What's your opinion of the mayor's request?
It'll never happen.
Know anything about the missing children like 200 years ago? And any other recently missing people?
Nope. I tend to keep to myself.
Does he seem to be telling us the truth?
Make an insight
That's a
check.
25 insight check.
25 insight. He
Yep.
seems to be telling you the truth, but not necessarily all of it.
I got 22, so yeah.
He's probably just heard from the old lady.
So
what?
when
What? Go ahead, Sazi.
okay, sorry. Uh, have you lived here all your life, or did you move in at some point? How long ago was that?
I moved in about 30 years ago. Came from down the mountains, lived up top the hand of the gods for most of my life. Decided to take the river out, and on the way out to sea, I decided these towns look nice, and I figured I'd live here.
What are the contents of the messages that you've sent to the council, to this the Azamar? I forgot her name already. I'm sorry. Ivana?
Mm, It's not my place to tell you that.
And is she the only one that you've sent the message to? Just exclusively her?
Yep, that's well, recently, yeah. That's who I sent to. Before that, ooh, I think his name was Delicrin. Um, but that was before Goodman was the counselor, and so whatever his golden shield was, and
What do you make of the legends in these parts of disappearing people, being swallowed by Typhon's folly, or other disappearances that have happened around here as well?
I think it's a bunch of scary stories to keep people from wandering outside the city.
Do you ever gather reagents from like around the river and seen anything weird?
Oh, you mean like the people from across the river throwing stones and yelling at us?
That or like creatures or and just anything out of the normal.
Not out of the normal. I saw a big fish once.
How big?
How big? And I start with my hands together small and I just slowly get bigger and I say,
He stops you when they get to about 4 feet.
oh, dang, that is a big fish.
Yeah, it was good dinner for about a week. So is that all you wanted to know? Was that I send the messages and the contents
Are
thereof?
Were you the person who enchanted the sewer drain to clean the contents before it empties into the river?
Yeah, that was before I got here.
What's it like being a wizard in this place? Do you usually are you left alone aside from when people like us come and pester you, or do the villagers keep you busy with requests?
I get requests here and there. Make a pretty good living. Live pretty okay.
What is the highest level spell you can cast, my dude?
What's a level spell?
What is the strongest arcana you are capable of?
Hmm.
I mean, aren't level spells actually canon in 5e? Like, you have to, as a wizard, know how to prepare different spells, and there's a bunch of, like, coinage around it.
So the spell levels take up that number of pages in your spell book. So it's like the length of spells.
Yeah, you could
So the
reference the length of the
complexity.
spell, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're not called levels per se. It's weird.
Yeah.
What is
What
what is the most complex spell that you know how to cast?
what is the school of magic that you've studied that you focus on?
I don't focus on any one particular school. Um, so I was trained for war.
I see.
Ah, a war mage.
Yup. Wanted me to fight, and I didn't. So I left.
Ins-
Understandable.
I kind of want to insight check that and see if he is kind of on the run more than he was just fleeing on his own.
Okay. Go ahead and make an insight check.
19.
He seems to be honest that, you know, he didn't want to fight. You gather, though, that it was more going AWOL, and so he's probably on the run.
That's kind of what I was wondering, is if he was just kind of like,
But
screw this, I'm out,
yeah,
without like officially leaving the way he should.
yeah.
Got it. Does it feel like he's hiding here, or just that he's found a place to hang out?
Why not both?
Okay, I got you.
Excuse me, my dude. You never told me the most complex spell you can cast. Do you know how to teleport? What kind of things can you do?
Uh, I can do all sorts of different things. Um, I don't usually prepare my big spells anymore because I don't need them.
Do you
Uh,
know how to teleport?
Nah, never got that far. If I knew how to teleport, I wouldn't have ended up here. I just came down the river.
Sometimes the joy is in the journey.
Yeah.
All right, man. That's all the questions I've got. Pleasure to meet you. My name is Zerdig, totally surface elf.
What are your opinions on the stories of the missing people over time here?
I think it's made up by some crazy lady who misses her time of her youth and wants the attention that she had when she was young. Zerdik, it is nice to meet you. I am Thamel, True Watcher.
He'll give him the equivalent in this world of shaking hands. I'm sure it's probably not the same thing, but say, pleasure to meet you, Thamel. And then look to everyone else in the party, see if there's more questions for the wizard.
It was a pleasure meeting you. My name is Bruce. And again, Ori kind of looks at Mizeki every time he says that.
Good stuff.
And again, creepy smile on the mask.
He just nods. Right, Bruce. Got it.
Can Zerdig make just a general intelligence check of like what would be a good thread to track down here?
Okay.
Can I assist?
16.
Okay. So what information that you've gathered here all seems to be believed to be fake. Nobody believes um, the village elder. So old lady Amberfond, no one seems to believe her. When you guys were talking to her, she seemed super convinced, though, that her story was true. She did mention that there were disappearances in the other hamlet as well as there are smaller cities further south, closer into Typhons. And so, probably your best look is to go start at the other city
Hmm.
and see what they can tell you, if they can corroborate anything, um, tell you
Isn't the
about
other
their
hamlet
missing.
isn't the other hamlet closer to Typhons and to Harrington
Yes.
than 2M's?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's south and it's
So
on the far side of the river.
Well,
Zerdig is gonna suggest we try and go to hamlet with 1M. Sorry, Salty.
no, I was just gonna say let's go down to the river, and if there's, I know there's probably not passage back and forth, but if nothing else, maybe we can see if we can like buy a cheapo boat or something.
Yeah.
That's Ori agrees with that plan completely. That's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah, because the theory that's forming now is, I mean, either A, it's fake. That'd be the easy one to be like, oh, hey, council, it's fake. See ya. All right, we're just something else now. But I think everyone in the party is like, well, we need to do our due diligence, right? At least go to Hamlet with 1M. But I'm betting that the closer you get to the Folly and maybe even Harrington, the more these disappearances are going to be occurring.
The other hamlet being directly across the river, how wide is the river between the two hamlets?
So the river is just about half a mile across.
Okay, pretty good length.
Yeah, so you can see it. People try and throw stones and things, but they don't get nearly far enough to cross.
Is it comparable from this perspective? Is it comparable in size to the hamlet that we're in?
From what you can see on the other side of the river, yeah.
And there's no other larger or more outstanding structures than just kind of the normal city structures that we're seeing.
Correct.
What time of day is it for us right now?
It's like 11 a.m.
Yes, I believe we should go investigate the riverfront since we do have plenty of day to look into this. Did we still need to see the mayor?
Uh, that dude like totally didn't like us, and the other dude, the bartender guy, was like, "Don't go talk to him." So no.
Let's not go back to the mayor just yet until we have something at least a little more concrete.
I wonder if they have a hall of records, if there might be a recorded account of any of these disappearances.
Like maybe newspapers or town criers information, something like that.
A gazette, maybe? A tribune? Was there any indication of like a gazette or cry or town criers here?
There's not any written form that you've come across. So there are a few people that go about talking about what's going on in the city currently, but nothing really major is happening here, so you haven't seen a lot.
The mayor, was it his official office that we visited him in?
Correct, because he sent you to his house to talk to his grandma.
And was that building more of an official building with other government services or just his office?
It had more going on in it.
Was there like a receptionist we might be able to talk to? And,
Nope.
not bother him.
No, there were lots of people bustling about, and it took a couple minutes, but he finally approached you as you were there. So you were essentially just standing in a big, giant foyer while waiting and watching people go until he came.
Perhaps we should see if there is a library or some other sort of archive. Perhaps back at that government building, they might be able to provide some details for a record.
Okay. So you want to find out if there is a library in town.
Yeah, a library or some other sort of city archive, any place that might have records of town, either residents or disappearing people certainly, but if there's like a record of residents, that might also help check into those abandoned buildings.
Okay.
Okay. I think first we need to look at the riverside and see if we find anything. Um, Simply because then if we have specific questions about it, then we've got those to go on as well as um, like your investigations or and things like that. Um, Also, I don't know, something about this grate seems curious.
Agreed. That's a solid plan. I like that. We may also see about securing passage across the river if there is an option for that.
From what you know of this town, there will not be.
Right, but like the suggestion was out there of being able to buy a boat if we could buy a boat, like a cheap boat. But yeah, I like the idea. Let's head for the river, investigate the shoreline.
Okay. So yeah, it's fairly easy to make your way over to the river, um, passing through some people's yards to get there. But that's really the only way to reach the river. Um,
There's not a main road to the riverfront.
so the main road leads towards the river, but it stops before reaching it. So
Okay.
So I'd assume also there's no like public docks or anything like that since there's not a way to directly reach the river, which means there's probably no shipping.
yeah,
At least not going by the river.
Yep. No, people are pretty self-sufficient. The boats that come here usually just pull to the side and have people climb out if people are getting out here, but not many people stop in Hamlet. So,
When we got out of the water at Black Pond, there was a cart, like an abandoned cart near the river. Did you say there was also an abandoned boat?
yep.
When we get to the river, I'm also going to look for any boats, abandoned or looks like it might be owned.
Okay.
Alright, you can't just steal from people.
I
Not my
was
mom.
intending to make an offer on whoever owned the boat to cross the river. I didn't even consider stealing a boat.
Good.
Okay. So you guys make your way to the river. There aren't any signs of any kind of transportation here. No boats or anything. Not anything even coming down the river at this point.
Looking across the river, does it look like there's docks at the other hamlet?
Nope.
So we're gonna have to do the same thing we did getting here, which is like row our boat across the river as close as we can and like wade into the shore.
Where you get in a boat?
We're
Or
Are
I
just
there
can
any
buy us one.
are there any trees around here?
The trees are up north of the Joy of Trees.
So nothing large enough that I feel like I can make a boat out of.
Nope.
Okay.
Well, we do know where some abandoned houses are, and abandoned houses have lots of wood.
Which you notice that some of it was starting to rot, so I'm sure it would make a great boat.
It's just gonna last for like literally an hour.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, when I request spells, I can request RML bless me with the ability to walk on water that I could bestow upon all of you, but that'll have to wait till tomorrow.
You can hit our whole group with that?
Oh yeah,
You can hit like five, or is it 5 or 8 people that you can cast a
Nice.
spell with?
up to 10.
Up to 10. Nice.
And it's like for an hour or something.
Yep,
And we shall walk across the river.
but
Uh,
that'll
so
have to be tomorrow.
so Ora is going to start investigating along the riverbanks. One, trying to find where that water is coming out towards the river, and then looking for any other indications of beasts or nests. The same kind of investigation I was doing of the sewers.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we will go ahead and call the session there. This is our normal kind of ending time. And so we will pick up with your plans for that with our next session. So thanks everybody for coming out, for hanging out with us. Sorry for the interruption in the middle where I had to step away, but we should be good to see you for our next time. So have a great day. Bye.
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 Goodbye.
Bye.
I don't like the